2. Brings me to my text today in 1 Samuel chapter number 17. I know some of you that when you came to church today, you're like, for real? David and Goliath, is that what I came to church for today? Because let's be honest, everybody knows this story. This is a classic story. If you went to Sunday school one time in your entire life, you know David and Goliath. And perhaps that is the problem. I think it is our familiarity with this passage that actually robs us of the revelation that is in this passage. I want us to look at David and Goliath today, this classic, iconic story. I want us to look at it with fresh eyes and see maybe there's something deeper that God wants to speak to us. And I am convinced that this passage, this fight, has a little to do with the fight and everything to do with the conversations that preceded the fight. Who they were talking to. We have made this about the fight between David and Goliath, but I think it's deeper than that. Because, come on, think about it. The fight really could be summed up in 4 stanzas. He hit him with a rock. He fell down dead. He cut off his head. Hooray. That's the whole fight right there. In 4 stanzas, that is the entire fight. Why then are there 58 verses in 1 Samuel chapter 17? It's all that talking. It's the conversations. When we run up to Goliath, we notice he's not cutting off heads of the enemies. All he is doing is talking, and what he is saying has them paralyzed in fear. So I want to talk to you about 5 critical conversations that David had before he ever got to the fight. And I think there are principles from these 5 conversations that you have to apply to your life. Are you ready for this today? Come on, across every location, look at somebody and say, I know this is for you. I know this is for you. 5 conversations I want us to look at today. The first conversation, I call this conversation the Uber Eats conversation. We could call it the DoorDash dialogue. This is the first conversation, and it is in 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 17. And this is when his father Jesse, David's father Jesse, comes to him and says, hey, I want you to go to the battlefield and take your brothers some cheese and some bread and some barley. Just says, go deliver some food to them. That is the first conversation that he has. And that is a critical conversation. It seems like it's a little thing, right? Just go deliver some cheese and some bread. It seems like it's a small thing, but how many know it is a big thing? It is a massive thing, because if David rejects this request of his father, he is never positioned for the battle that he was ordained to fight. It looks like it's a small thing, but it's actually a big thing. I have learned that generally big things are always packaged in little small requests from God. Often the big doors that everybody wants God to open generally has a little bitty doorknob. And God wants to see, how can you steward the little thing? How can you steward the small thing before I ever bring you into the big thing? Imagine if David said no. He responded to an Uber Eats request from his father to go bring cheese and bread to his brothers. This was a critical conversation, especially when you consider what happened in 1 Samuel chapter 16. Oh, don't forget what happened. The prophet Samuel came to Jesse's house and said, I'm looking for the next king. Bring me all your sons. All 7 sons come out. God rejects all 7 of them. And Samuel has to ask Jesse a question that you should have to ask a father. Do you have any more kids? And he's like, oh yeah, I do have another one. Oh, but yeah, David, I guess he's out there with the field with the stinky sheep. And I love what Samuel says. It's so gangster. He says, we're not gonna sit down until he comes in. Makes all 7 of the brothers just stand in rejection. How long did they have to wait before David made it from the field into the house? All of a sudden, David walks in and Samuel goes, you are the one. This is God's anointed. It was a destiny moment. He anoints him as king. David knows that I'm gonna be king. And then he gets a request from his father. I wonder if he thought, oh, he's gonna apologize for not inviting me to Samuel coming. He's gonna say, I'm so sorry that I didn't deem you worthy to be the next king. That's not what he says. He says, hey, can you go take your brothers some cheese and some bread? If that was me, I would have been like, who you talking to? Don't you know I'm the next king of Israel? You don't see this oil that's still dripping on me? Please, you want me to deliver charcuterie? I am the next king of Israel. But David doesn't say that. What does he say? He pulls a Chick-fil-A. He says, my pleasure. My pleasure. If my Father has a request for me, my pleasure. Whatever my Father wants me to do, my pleasure. I am not too prideful to deliver this cheese and bread to my brothers, even though I'm the next king of Israel. What is David teaching us in this conversation? That you have to have a heart of humility. A heart of humility. And I want to know, when God requests something of you, is your response, my pleasure? Or is it, who are you talking to, God? You want me to serve in the church? They should be glad I just showed up today. Really? No wonder God can't move you into what he has for you. And some people will never step into the effulgence of their purpose, not because they can't knock down a big giant named Goliath, but because they can't knock down a big giant named pride. David is showing us a heart of humility, and he tells his father, if this is the assignment you have for me, my pleasure. I know I'm the next king, but I'll go ahead and drop off this Uber Eats order. And look at what happens when he drops it off. He drops off the order to his brothers, and after he drops it off, right at the moment he drops off the order, I'm talking about right at the moment he's about to take the picture and send it to Jesse and say, order delivered. It just so happens that's the moment that Goliath comes out and starts taunting the children of Israel like he's been doing for 40 days. And as soon as David hears it, he's like, wait a minute, what is going on? This cannot happen. Isn't it interesting that he heard the same thing that the other soldiers heard, but he had a completely different response? He heard the same words from Goliath, but he had a completely different reaction. What caused them to be stuck in fear caused David to rise up to the moment. Oh, I'm telling you, when you have been talking to God, you walk into rooms differently. When you know who you are and whose you are, I'm telling you, you'll respond differently. David was responding because his ear was tuned in to what I call the frequency of faith. When you are walking by faith and not by sight, you respond differently than other people. He's like, oh no, wait a minute. Is there not a cause? There's no way I'm gonna let you talk about my God like that. He heard the same thing, but had a different reaction. When you are tuned in to what God can do in you and through you, when you've been talking to your God, just like David did when he was out there playing the harp with those stanky sheep. He wasn't doing anything but receiving who he was, and he knew who he was talking to. He drops off the order, and then all of a sudden, he has the next conversation, and this is a critical conversation. He has it with the soldiers. I want you to hear what he says to the soldiers. He says, what will be done for the man that defeats this giant? You missed it. David, here's Goliath talking, and immediately goes, what will be done for the man that defeats this giant? Y'all missed it too. He hears Goliath talking, and his immediate response is, what is gonna be done for the man that defeats him? In other words, David already sees himself defeating this giant. In other words, he doesn't just have a heart of humility, he has a vision of victory. He is not stuck in fear. He already sees himself defeating this giant. So he goes, hey, I wanna know, what does the man get who defeats this giant? Because guess what? I am that man. Oh, I don't know who this message is for today, but God told me to tell you, you gotta get a vision of victory. You gotta see yourself defeating that giant. He had a vision of victory. He could already see it. See, the soldiers, they were focused on something else. In fact, the writer in 1 Samuel, he gives you great detail explaining Goliath's helmet and his shield. And the reason he's going into great detail is because he's showing you what the soldiers have been focusing on. It's Hebrew poetry. He's letting you know that they're looking at his helmet and, oh my goodness, I've never seen a shield that big, and oh my God. And whatever you focus on the most, that's what's gonna grow in your life. David says, I don't care nothing about his shield. I don't care anything about his sword. I just know one thing, that the God that I serve is able to take him down. So I already see myself winning the battle. What does the man get for defeating that man? Because I know I'm that guy. He's got a vision of victory. Can I ask you something? Do you see yourself winning? Do you see your marriage being restored? Do you see your children coming back to God? Do you see it? Because if you don't see it, it's gonna be hard for you to step into it. You got to have a vision of victory.